Alright, so welcome back to the 4x4 Fab Shop, and on the channel you've seen us do pie cuts, how to lay them out, how to orientate. You've seen us do Y pipes, but what if you had to merge the two? What if you have a need for a pie cut Y pipe? So we've got a few of these already cut. I've got a small bead ran on the inside because for me that's where I always burn them out. We're going to get these welded together. So I've got two of these that we're going to partially weld. Then I'm going to show you how we make a Y pipe out of these. And as always, we're using our CK Flex Lock. Alright, since we're a Rockmount affiliate, we're going to use this Neptune Tig. And I've used this a lot on some of the cast repairs I've done. Lays down great, and you can anodize over it. Right? Strong wire. So go check them out, not just because we're sponsored by them, but because it works. So we're just wire brushing one direction, then we'll get everything all wiped down with acetone, then I'll start showing you how to make this an actual Y pipe. In order to make these a Y, I got to get this sectioned in half. So I need to lay out where the cut line on this is going to be. And with these, it can be a little tricky trying to set it up. So here's what I do. I cut off a small sacrificial piece and I just tack it to it. And that allows me to hold it for marking and for everything else. The reason why I go right to the weld table is since this is a pie cut, you're going to have a small edge on one side, and if you sit right down on this edge, you're going to sit up. Right, so I'll have lines on the sides of it from when I laid out the pie cuts, and then I put a mark in the very center. Then I just use my square and turn it around, and I just rotate it until both sides hit. You can very easily just take a scale reading, one up and one down, should be in the center. And then you just go around. It gets a little tight when you get into the bend here. And then your line just goes around, that's your cut line. And once again, just make sure your tacks are good on the side you're going to keep. Otherwise, when you cut it free, it's going to just spring open. Alright, so we're going to use our angle grinder to cut this off. We get these wheels from Rockmount that are made for softer materials. And it keeps the wheel from loading up, especially with aluminum. If you don't have a bandsaw that you can just come through this and cut, because that would make this a whole lot easier. So if you got a bandsaw, just mark it and then set it on the table and just cut it. We don't have a bandsaw yet, so we have to cut this with the angle grinder. Alright, so just make sure when you lay these out to cut them that you factor in the right tube diameter. The first time I thought I had 3-inch tubing. Well, it's 3.5. So this whole one side is scrap. I had to remake it, but double check your diameter. Alright, so we got the pieces cut. Left a little bit here for fit up. Now, so what I'll do is I can just take them together real quick here. And I know I need to be 3.5 inches, and I can see that I'm a solid 1/8 inch over. I just set them on something flat and just see which one I need to take the material off of. So I'll just sand some off here. You'll see me sanding a little bit, and then we'll go from there.
Alright, so when you get these, start getting these fitted together, self-admittedly I have one of these a little bit out of rotation, so this might happen to you just as well. So what I'm doing is I'm lining up all the seams, and then I'll have to rework this bottom edge right here to get rid of that step. Right now across here we're at 3.5 inches, which is this diameter. So we'll get it cleaned up and tacked. We'll go from there. And then since I was sanding on this edge, we are going to go over the edge just with the file, just to make sure there's no contamination from the belt in there. Alright, so I'm using this green tape, and I'll go back over with acetone just to hold it together. Before I start tacking, you know, I'm just going to double check. I know I have to resurface this edge, so we'll get these two tacked together. So a couple of big points when you're welding this pie cut together. When you're coming up to these intersections, it wants to burn out on you. So when you come up to those, I would try to put a dot right in the middle, but don't let it get too hot because that corner is just going to go away on you real fast. Especially down in some of these thinner areas. Let it cool off a little bit and then come back to it. If you try to just continually weld this thing, it's going to fall out on you. And I'll be the first to tell you, I'm still trying to get my TIG game down on aluminum. Trying to get the dabs even spaced. So projects like this is really good for that. First tell you, I still have more work to do, and it's all about hood time. If your fit up is off a little bit, try to line up the seams, and then on this I had to sand the bottom a little bit to make it fit. So if it's off a little bit, just sand it. And that way, just make sure your diameter is right so that it fits on there right. The tighter it is, the easier it's going to be to weld. So give this pie cut, Y pipe a try. If nothing else, it's great practice. And I, like everybody else, well, you need more practice. And when you lay these out for the cuts, make sure that you got the right diameter. These are 3.5. I figured 3, so we scrapped out a whole side. Right. See you in the next video pops up here. It's been the 4x4 Fab Shop.